Hi, Andrea. So I looked over your lesson plan and here's my feedback. So I love the fact that you've chosen, right, to do this like mystery narrative writing and are carrying that all throughout. I think that's going to really help you as you're thinking about these lesson plans. So really nice flow to the lesson plan. I see that you've got two established goals, right? Working on the introduction and recognizing inappropriate shifts in pronouns, okay? All right. And then in your students will be able to, though, I actually only see one of those evidence outcomes reflected here, because you have rating the effectiveness of it and revising the introduction. Oh, look, it's right there, to have clear pronoun use by reading it. You've got them both. You're well aligned. You're fine. It's early and I don't feel good. I'm sorry. So, okay, good. Your formative assessment is your guided discussion, and then, right, summative assessment's going to come later. I wonder when it comes to pronoun usage, if it wouldn't help to have both a guided discussion and a little bit of practice, independent practice. I see that you have guided practice here in pieces that you created, and you're going through it as a class with the students, but I wonder if it wouldn't work their brains a little harder to like watch you go through it and listen to you go through it, and then have to do some of their own specific practice on pronouns before they apply it to their writing. Because sometimes going from what is relatively new information for them, right? They're sixth graders, they probably haven't thought much about pronoun usage before, straight into application without any independent practice might be a little bit difficult. Let me show you what I mean, okay? So good. All right, so you've got your agenda items. Again, those are well aligned. You've got kids in pairs, anticipating some of their answers and some of their reactions to your questions. Really good job. All right. Okay, so good. You're giving them a guided practice on how you want them to review their writing, right? So read it anytime you stumble, like make a mark on the paper, okay? Allowing them to experience some of this mispronoun usage before you label it for them so that they can talk about, oh, that sounds weird. Oh, that's kind of confusing. Oh, I guess you're right. If I look there, I can find it. That stuff's really good. When you dig into this stuff right in here, okay, pronoun antecedent, right? So you're going to be throwing a brand new word at the kids. They don't know the word antecedent. I would be really surprised if they did. Some of them might, right? But they're not going to know it well enough to know it, to use it, okay? You're doing all of this information verbally as you're correcting, and when you're using new vocab words and teaching grammar, you want to do this, right? Do what you're doing here. So I'm verbally using these words, I'm demonstrating comfort with them, I'm walking you through a guided practice with writing, but then you also want to sink it home with that explicit instruction that says you need to be writing these definitions down, you need to be note-taking on this, you need to be providing guided notes, something kind of like that, okay? Oh, sorry, okay? Alright, hold on, scrolling, okay. So good, going through multiple processes, alright? Here, look at this. Pronoun case is very related to pronoun antecedent agreement. You're going to say that sentence and the kids are just going to glaze over. Case changes if the object or person being referred to is the subject of a sentence or the object of a sentence. You've lost them. There's no way. They're sixth graders. Some of these kids are like 11 years old. You've got to stop at this point and do direct instruction in a really careful, explicit way, so that you are doing the guided notes with this. You're instructing them to write it down, and you may want to consider audience adaptation here. While the information you have in here is completely 100% accurate, really nicely done. But if you say to a sixth grader, case changes if the object or person being referred to is the subject of a sentence or the object of a sentence, it's too much. That information, that sentence is packed with so much information and so much vocabulary that you're going to lose the kids, and you're going to need to adapt some of that speak to help them come along with you, scaffold it a little bit more, okay? Here too, you're talking about case, you're talking about number, you're back to talking about case, you're back to talking about number. Okay, so think about chunking this information down much smaller. I gotta be honest, when I was teaching case and number and pronouns and stuff like that to my 7th graders, I just had I had guided notes, and then I had a grid, right? Because each pronoun has case, number, and person. So it's really easy to say, okay, throw a bunch of pronouns up, at me, and I wrote them on the board. And then we worked on identifying, like, okay, so let's look at the pronoun mine, right? Oh, okay, so obviously that's first person, right? Where does it belong in the grid, and blah, blah, blah. And so, like, threw a bunch of words at the kids and had them work with them, and then we put them into context, right? So, okay, look at my paragraph. Oh, okay, look, I have some of these in here. Did I use them appropriately? Okay? So just something to think about, because your information in here is totally correct, okay? I like the fact that you're thinking about differentiating for your students, okay? Having them read together, I think that's a really nicely done job too, okay? I did go ahead and look at your supplemental attachment as well before I turn the recording stuff on, so that's really nicely done. So, really good lesson plan. You've got the right grammar information in here. You just want to work on chunking that information down and slowing it down a little bit for the kids, and direct instructing them to take some notes or do a grid or something like that. Other than that, nicely done.